It is a major pain in the ass to get anywhere. I mean, that was the whole plot of the game. And this one, right off the bat, Abby and her friends traveled 900 miles through a zombie apocalypse to investigate a rumor of a guy that might be somewhere. Then Ellie teleports to Seattle, then she teleports to Wyoming, then she teleports to California. The story is designed to be this horrific train wreck, but it does lean on contrivance.
So I think Dunkey's actually accepting the criticism with this one, where he's saying like how they just jump around all over the place. You know, it's just like a very like messy, kind of like unbelievable kind of like voyage that they take. It's just like, which I do appreciate the fact that he's taking criticisms to his own arguments, which is cool. You know, he kind of just took it, which, you know, if you make a fair point, like, how could you rebuttal against a fair point? You know, like, if it's a fair point, if it's factually, like, what can you do? So I like that he's doing that. But that's just another thing. Like, it just feels like the end with the Rattlers is so unnecessary. It's like, what the fuck are we doing in California? Like, it's so different from the rest of the game. Like, it just feels like DLC. Like, it was a really good part of the game, though, because the gameplay mechanics were up a notch, you know? Like, you had, like, you could shoot the zombies on the hooks or whatever, and they could be let loose to... Why didn't they have that in the base game? Like, I swear, the Rattlers part felt like fucking DLC. That felt like the beginning of Last of Us 3. Completely different game. Like, it's all over the place. And it feels all over the place because you have to play two different stories that take place around the same time. And it doesn't make any... It's just... It's more confusing than it needs to be. It's just a fucking zombie game. And Last of Us 2, I mean... Like, I'm not trying to dwindle on zombie games' like reputation, you know. I'm not saying it's just a zombie game, you know. Like, Dead Rising 2 is just a zombie, you know. You kill zombies killing fun, boom, boom, wow, yeah. That's Dead Rising 2. Now, Last of Us is a very character-driven franchise, of course, and has a very, very character-powerful moments, you know. But like the second one just does not deliver. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, it just doesn't. There's no way to look at it. It's just a mess.
The first game. Whether or not you did, you still seem restarted. You
Restarted.
Retarded. The classic move. This game is just revenge bad, hammered over and over again. I really don't think this game or the original are about trying to hammer home some profound message. The fun of these games to me is trying to unravel and figure out these characters, and I feel like a lot of the best characterization in this game went completely unnoticed. When you're playing as Ellie, you have all of these flashbacks to Joel where we find out the Firefly incident is driving a wedge between them. Ellie starts drifting away from Joel more and more until she finds out what really happened and cuts ties with him entirely. So when Joel gets killed, It dawns on Ellie that she wasted those few remaining years she had left with Joel, ignoring and resenting him. Guilt. This is what drives Ellie's revenge story. Later at the farm, Tommy comes to visit Ellie. He is just this broken man, physically and mentally, with his brother's death weighing so heavily over him. He knows Ellie still wants revenge.
That's the other stupid thing about... Like, this game is filled with such contrivance. Like, I remember at the beginning of the game, this man, Tommy, did not want Ellie to go to take revenge because he said that's not what Joel would have wanted. You're putting your life at risk or whatever. And then he goes by himself without Ellie, a valuable... That doesn't make any sense. If you were going to go on this suicide death mission, like... You could have at least brought Ellie, because you know she would have came regardless. Like, you think knowing Ellie for like 4 years, right? Knowing her, right, you would know that she would take revenge. Especially since you've seen her coming up with the plan that they had to go get him, and then you leave without her? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't. It's just stupid. They made Tommy stupid. And then at the end, they make him like a bitter asshole that's just so fucking, like... obsessed with his brother's death that's all he is now. When you think about it, this game kills off all the guys, and then the remaining guys that are remaining are just assholes. If you're a guy in Last of Us 2, you're either dead or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. Like, they treat every other of the... Like, Dina. Dina's done some fucked up shit, too, on Ellie's behalf, sure. But, like, they play her as a saint, you know, as, like, the woman carrying the baby or whatever. And Mel, too. Mel is over here shooting the heads off of scars. They treat her like a saint, too. Like, oh, no, she had the baby. Like, are we gonna ignore the fact that she killed fucking, like, scars? Like, actual human beings and dogs and, like, shit like that? Like, if we can put all that to the side, now I'm pretty sure we can forgive, like basically anything at that point. And it is a game, like, you kill people in the game, like, that's the whole thing, right? But I just hate the way they shine some people in a better light than others, even though they're all in the same shitty light. That's where the agenda pushing comes in. That's where I think it is. Because, like, Manny's dead, Jesse's dead, like, fucking Tommy almost dead, but guess what? He has a fate worse than death. They're gonna ruin his character by making him a bitter, angry asshole for the rest of the fucking franchise. If you're a guy in Last of Us 2, just pack your bags and go home, bro. Just go to Dead Rising 2. You'll find better luck in that zombie game.
And he desperately tries to guilt her into pursuing Abby again because he can't. This is such a sickening, disturbing, and powerful scene, acted and written to perfection. I do think Last of Us 2 is largely a condemnation of violence, but not in a cheesy, one-dimensional way. The game wants you to feel bad for what you've done, but it also wants to piss you off. It wants to fill you with hate and says, Here you go, dude. Shoot these dickheads that killed Joel with a dynamite arrow. The Last of Us 2 is support the homosexual. That's why I'm not playing. So if anyone wants to jump over to my side, you cannot make the player feel guilt for their actions if they didn't have the ability to choose something other than violence. This is true. It's against the gamer rules to do this, just like how you can't be sad when Arthur Morgan dies because you didn't choose that. I don't disagree that you can make the player feel a more pronounced sense of guilt when it was a...
That's what I'm saying, like, why couldn't they give Joel, like, an Arthur Morgan death? Or a Jack Marston death. Like, people hate the fact that they killed Joel so early, but also how they killed Joel. Just this random bitch comes out of nowhere and beats him with a golf club because he was caught slipping, even though Joel would never be caught slipping because he's a beast. If it was a mission with Joel and Ellie fucked up because she's dumb, and then Joel had to come and rescue her, and then they're so fucked that Joel has to sacrifice himself just so Ellie can live, and then Ellie has to live with the regret that she fucked up and did something stupid, and that's the reason why Joel died. That would have been fucking great. Like, Joel protecting Ellie and going out in that way would have been perfect. I remember Tyler once said it perfectly when he was bringing up Walking Dead Season 1, talking about Lee's sacrifice to Clementine. What else is there need to be said, bro? Like, why couldn't, like, Dina's pursuit of revenge... why couldn't Ellie's pursuit for revenge would have been, like, fine if they just killed off Dina? Like, if, like, we see, like, Dina, like, Ellie really cares about Dina or whatever, like, they kill Dina, right? Like, we could still have that, like, revenge thing propelling forward or whatever, and still have Joel alive and play with Joel and Ellie, you know, and all this. That would have been amazing! But we don't have that. We got this. Shit. Hope you're happy, Night Dog. Hope you're happy.
Decision that they made. Yoga Jake talks about this a lot in his recent video, but I also think this dichotomy between the player and the character is one of the most interesting parts of this game. There are tons of games where the main character is just a vessel for the player, but here they have their own volition. When we start as Ellie, I am right there with her going, hell yeah, they killed Joel. Let's get these sons of bitches.
Damn, this frames, bro.
That's fun because
shooting
video games are fun. And as it goes, her mission gets more and more depraved until she becomes the villain of the story. It's a game where the more you win, the worse things get. And
yeah, it's like, you made Ellie the villain. Like, what good does that do to anybody? You made someone we loved in the first one someone that we just started to despise. What good did that do to your franchise? Fucking killed it. You killed off all the good written characters of the first one. You killed Joel and you killed Ellie. You know why? Because she's not even Ellie anymore. She's just this fucking... Like, this isn't Ellie anymore, bro. She's just some angry bitch. like some stupid, and like that's the disappointing part, because it ruins the first. Like I remember I'm still replaying the first one just because I like playing the first one, right? I would never, like, I was like asking myself, would I replay the second one? And I was like, definitely not. But I was like, maybe if there was a grounded mode and they did add that, and I'm just like, maybe if I have like no audio and I did listen to the story and I just fucking went for the combat only, then I would replay the game. But in terms of the story pissing me off, it's just not worth it. It's just not worth it. So, like, and you know what? They did it themselves. You know, they killed their own characters. Because now your franchise is dead. Naughty Dog, you know? Because look at how many fucking unsold copies of Last of Us 2 are on fucking shelves at retail stores. Like, no multiplayer could make up for this. I'm just saying. I'm still gonna play it, but no multiplayer could ever make up for this. We're losing more of the stuff we love. It was first with Star Wars, then it was with Terminator, now it's with Last of Us.